Morning, and I welcome members to the fourth meeting in 2017 of the Standards, Procedures and Public Appointments Committee, and remind everyone to switch all electronic devices to silent. Our first item for today for the committee is to take evidence on two proposed cross-party groups. The first group we have to consider today is a proposed cross-party group on dementia, and I would like to welcome Richard Lyle, the MSP, to the meeting, and Richard is the proposed convener of the group. So I would like to invite Mr Lyle to make an opening statement.
Thank you, Convener, and good morning to members of the committee. I won't take up much time this morning with my remarks, but I wanted to cover two broad areas. One being the reasons why the cross-party group on dementia didn't re-establish itself in line with the deadlines, and secondly, the general purpose of the CPG moving forward with the committee's approval. On the first area, the reasons why the CPG in dementia did not re-establish itself in line with the Parliament's guidelines are due to the fact that, with one exception, there were no members of the Scottish Parliament remaining in office following the elections to the fifth session of the Scottish Parliament in May 2016, who were previously on the group. The only exception was one returning member who declined the invitation to act as the secretariat to the group and to continue as a member. Therefore, in essence, the support organisation, Alzheimer's Scotland, were required to carry out additional work to meet with MSPs to gather the required cross-party support for the group. Unfortunately, this was not possible within the deadline for re-establishment as a previous existing CPG. I can inform the committee, however, that we held a very successful, incredibly well-attended meeting of the CPG on the 31st of January 2017, and I am excited at the prospect of being involved with such a fantastic mix of individuals and organisations. 41 people attended that night. Moving on, with your permission, Convener, I'd like briefly to highlight some of the key areas which will make up the purpose of the CPG on dementia. This year will see the publication of the Scottish Government's third National Dementia Strategy. I'm sure members will agree that the re-establishment of the group is timeous to provide a forum to discuss this work in the years and session ahead. The group will also look to work together with other CPGs in relevant areas to avoid duplication. For example, there's a tentative agreement to hold a joint session with the cross-party group on palliative care, which I believe demonstrates the benefits of our group in recognising interdisciplinary engagement. There are, of course, other strands of work taking place in relation to dementia, which will be useful for colleagues in Parliament and indeed wider stakeholders to be aware of. And I believe the group will be an excellent conduit to discussing these issues. I think I'll end my remarks by thanking the committee once again for their time today, and I'm happy to be guided by you, Convener, on questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr Lyle. Are there any questions from members of the committee? None at all. Can I thank you very much, Mr Lyle. I'm sure that there will be many of the cross-party groups will have an interest in this area and be able to work with you going forward on what is a very worthwhile CPG. But we will be making our deliberation on that shortly, and you'll be informed of our decision as quickly as possible.
Thank you very much for your time.
Let's suspend briefly to let the witnesses change. The next item for discussion by the committee is a proposed cross-party group on beer and pubs, and I would like to welcome Patrick Harvey, MSP, to the other side of the table this morning, who is the proposed convener of the group, and I would like to invite Mr Harvey to make an opening statement.
Thanks very much, Convener. Lovely to see you all from this angle. Scotland's had a huge resurgence, I think, of independent brewing, and that's something that I think many members right across Scotland recognise happening in their own constituency, changing parts of the way the alcohol industry operates, and also changing many people's patterns of consumption. There's obviously a range of concerns and issues that are raised in relation to the alcohol industry, but I would like to hope that many members feel that are a focus on quality rather than on volume consumption, and a focus on the kind of businesses that make their living from providing and producing quality rather than from volume sales has got a lot of merit. There's a need, I think, to discuss amongst members the impact of pubs as well, and in particular well-run, for example, community-owned and community-operated pubs and licensed venues, the role that they play in communities, the value that they have in the social life of a community, and the importance of ensuring that they are well run and operated responsibly. The campaign for Real Ale has had an annual reception here in Parliament for several years now. I've been privileged to be the host of that event, and those discussions and others, it's been recognised that a cross-party group bringing together members with an interest in beer and pubs with a focus on the independent sector has got real merit. CAMRA have offered to their services as the secretariat for the group. I should just make one comment about the form. There's one wee typo in there, in that the additional external members who've been noted toward the end, it should be said that they've been invited. There's a note on external membership on the form pointing out that the Scottish Licensed Trade Association, the Independent Brewers Association and Plunket Scotland have all been approached and have given positive indications that they'd like to take part. That's happened since the initial discussion, the initial meeting between members, so that's not been formally agreed. So toward the end, it should be noted they've been approached to take part as members and that they've shown some interest, but it hasn't been formally signed off by the MSP members of the group yet, CAMRA being the only external member at the initial stage. And I know the committee's got an interest in ensuring that ongoing CPGs keep in touch with the standards clerks about additional external members. That's something that we'll certainly be keen to do.
Very much, Mr. Harvey. Do any of the members have a question? Yes, Mr. Stewart.
Thank you, Patrick. And there's no doubt, as you've indicated, we have a quality product, and I think that is recognised across the sector within the trade. And I think it's good to focus on that. And I'm pleased that you've engaged with the Licensed Trade Association and others, because they have a role to play as well in promoting. But how do you see yourself promoting the industry within the Parliament and the cross-party group?
Well, it'll obviously be up to the members to set the agenda. Some of the issues that we've talked about as potential discussion points in the initial phase include pubco reform, as well as community ownership. Anytime licensing issues are debated at a legislative level by Parliament, it'll be important to ensure that a wide range of voices are heard in that, so that it's not only the impact on the multinational producers and on big chain pubs and that sort of thing, but we see the impact and discuss the impact on the smaller and independent sector. I think at a smaller level, one of the things that I've been keen to ensure is that we actually celebrate good quality Scottish produced beer in Parliament here as well, more than just on that one day a year when CAMRA are here for their reception. And I would like to see that as something that we maybe have a bit more confidence in showcasing.
Thank you, Convener.
Thank you. Ms. Hawking.
Thank you, Convener, and thank you, Patrick, for your explanation of the cross-party group. I just wanted to ask about why the focus was specifically on beer, because obviously in Scotland we have other alcoholic beverages that are produced, some in very small batches, and think perhaps some of the gin. Gin's been obviously a booming industry in Scotland recently. So why you'd focus specifically on just one alcohol product?
There's already been in the past a cross-party group on Scotch whisky industry, so we didn't want to necessarily kind of overlap with that group or do too much in the way of duplication there. I think gin, I might be misinterpreted here, I think gin's a very interesting product because there are whisky distilleries that are diversifying into producing gin. There are also breweries that are diversifying into producing gin. So in terms of the production end, the industry, it sort of occupies a bit of a space in the middle. I'm sure that those are issues that we would want to discuss, but I think in particular the resurgence of small independent breweries is something that you know, does I think deserve some recognition in its own right. I think some celebration in its own right, and that's a particular group of businesses who I don't think have been have had access to a forum for parliamentary discussion, particularly amongst members who represent constituencies and regions with independent breweries in their local areas. So there's a bit of a lack there, and I think that's why we've taken that focus.
Thanks. Any further? Mr. Johnson here.
I think this is a very interesting area, not least because of the nature of the product. I think we all take an interest in beer, but I think commercially, you know, I think there are some key issues. It's an industry which is marked by some particular commercial practices around tenanted pubs. I think there are also issues around the way the rate system works for this particular sector. Are those issues you are looking to take up? I'd just be interested to know more about kind of what you're proposing for your agenda. And in particular, have you got any plans to engage with the Barclay Review looking at kind of rates reform for the pub sector?
These are two issues that did come up at the initial exploratory discussion between members, both the non-domestic rates issue, and we've seen some recent announcements around the hospitality industry on that. Also the Pubco issue, and I know that one of Daniel's own party colleagues has a member's bill. He's a member of the CPG as well. We won't seek to duplicate the work of the committee in scrutinising, the relevant committee in scrutinising that bill when it's introduced, but I think having that opportunity for a forum that brings together independent brewers, independent pubs, and those who represent them with members will hopefully provide a useful extra forum for discussing those issues and any other issues that come up on the formal agenda of Parliament in the future as well.
Any further questions? Oh, can I thank Mr. Harvey for his attendance at committee this morning. We will be making our deliberations at agenda item 2, but thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Suspend. To agenda item 2, we will consider the two proposed CPGs this morning. The first one being the cross-party group on dementia. Do I have any comments from members? Are content to approve that CPG? Thank you. Second CPG this morning is proposed CPG on beer and pubs. Are there any comments regarding that one? No. Content to approve that one. Thank you very much. We can now move into private session. Thank you.